I have never been more emotionally drained after a WWE show in my entire fucking life. These are as raw comments as you will ever get out of me. WrestleMania ended 6.5 minutes ago, and I want to record an immediate reaction to what we saw. This won't be match-by-match review. We'll talk about that in later days. We're going to talk about this show as a whole. What did I talk about in my last commentary? The ride. I wanted to be taken on a ride. I wanted to be surprised. And I definitely wanted to be on the edge of my seat. I almost had a fucking aneurysm during like 3 of these matches. This was a fantastic WrestleMania considering it was supposed to be so predictable and it was anything but. There's going to be some strong opinions on some of the decisions that were made on this WrestleMania. And I'm going to be right there with everybody, to critique some of those decisions. But no matter what you think about some of the match conclusions, nobody can say that this WrestleMania sucked, because it most certainly did not. The first thing I thought in my head I would be talking about during my post-WrestleMania reaction video would be Daniel Bryan. I did not think the very first thing I would talk about would be The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar. And for once, the WWE title and the outcome all of you wanted and that I predicted is going to take a backseat to something else. I don't think I've ever been sadder in my life than when Brock Lesnar got the 3 count on The Undertaker tonight. What in the fuck was that about? I'm not pissed off. I'm not angry. I don't want to go on a rant about what a stupid decision it was or anything like that, because who am I to say? I'm more disappointed and saddened than anything else, because this is 21 years we're talking about, and the streak and the legacy that The Undertaker, has created for himself in the WWE, to me that streak was sacred, and it never needed to end. However, here's why I'm not pissed off. Here's why I'm not, gonna rip the WWE apart for doing something stupid. It's real simple. This was Undertaker's call. Do you think he would be out there having this match and ending the streak to Brock Lesnar if he didn't want to see the streak end? I'll tell you what, for a minute, I actually thought The Undertaker called an audible, because the match was kind of boring. It was very slow, very methodical. The pace was, quite frankly, boring, and it was becoming clear that The Undertaker was not going to live up to the standard of matches that he's been having at WrestleManias recently, so it almost seems like he might have just said, you know what, Brock, fuck it, beat me. And I'm sure with a guy like Undertaker, the WWE almost leaves it up to him. Hey, we want you to keep winning, but if you ever want to lose, let us know, and we'll be happy to find someone for you to job to. And like I said, I'm not going to question The Undertaker's decision. I'm not going to question The Undertaker's judgment. Whatever he wanted to do is what he wanted to do, and he has earned the right to make any decision that he wants. But the choice was so strange to me. Brock Lesnar is a legit opponent. Don't get me wrong. I thought Brock Lesnar in real life far outmatches, The Undertaker. He's younger, he's stronger, he's tougher, he's, just a all-around better fighter. The Undertaker's old and frail and, just not what he once was. But The Undertaker's mystique and his magic at WrestleMania, just nobody beats that stuff, and I don't know how many times. Do I have to go back and delete like 100 commentaries? How many times have I said that the streak will never, ever, ever end? I'm pretty sure I bet my balls, my testicles, my kids. I've put a lot of things on the line on The Undertaker streak, and it's over now. I'm glad that I never had a handshake on any of those bets for real. Also, I would tend to agree with the critics that say, if the streak was going to end, at least use the streak ending to launch somebody. There's a Roman Reigns sitting there. There's a Bray Wyatt sitting there. There's a Cesaro. There's a lot of guys that could have been used to, put over. Brock is 1, 2, 3 times a year at the most in the ring, and only a half dozen appearances on TV per year, makes ridiculous money and doesn't have to put up with all the bullshit that the rest of the locker room puts up with. And The Undertaker losing the streak to him, I'm just baffled by. I just cannot believe that's the guy. I would even have Cena beat the streak before Lesnar. And was this it? The Undertaker was out there as if this was his last match. I always just envisioned The Undertaker's final moment, just to close out a major WrestleMania. I don't even mind him losing, as long as that was his last match and his celebration and they treated it as such. This almost seemed like The Undertaker wanted to quietly retire. But man, I am still completely fucking shocked. I still have not come down from that feeling I got when that 3 count hit. It just seemed very, very strange. And even Brock Lesnar's music seemed to delay a bit. It was almost as if nobody could believe that it happened. I thought, like I said, maybe Taker called an audible, or I thought the referee botched the 3 count or something like that. I just cannot believe that they did it. I have to support it because it's The Undertaker. How can any of us make The Undertaker's career decisions for him? That is not our place to do that. So I'm not going to rip The Undertaker or the WWE apart for this decision, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm incredibly saddened by the decision. I wanted this streak to go down in wrestling history. I wanted to be, 75 years old and still look back and remember, a streak that'll never be broken of completely undefeated at WrestleMania, 20-something and 0, and a streak that honestly eclipses, any sort of milestone that a guy like Andre the Giant or any other mega star had ever reached. The Undertaker's number one. I put The Undertaker above everybody else, and that includes the three men we saw in the opening segment of WrestleMania. I just have the utmost respect for his character, for his career, for his professionalism, for everything he's done in pro wrestling. I think he truly is my favorite wrestler as far as all-around respect goes. I don't treat anybody the way I treat The Undertaker, and even if it means ending the streak, if it's what The Undertaker wants to do, then I support The Undertaker. He deserves at least that from me as a fan, and he deserves that from everybody else that is a fan of his as well. And I love The Undertaker and his character with all my heart, and, I just truly hope that he's happy with the decision he made and there's no regrets. I was worried about the WWE bouncing back from this. Did you guys see how badly that killed the crowd? Their mood had it felt like a funeral in there. I put on Twitter that I felt like my dog got ran over by a car. Words cannot even explain how, the life was sucked right out of you at the pure shock of that finish. And how much time on my commentaries did I even give this feud? I was like, nope, forget it. It's not even debatable. We're not even going to talk about it. They did a poor job of building up the match. There's no doubt in my mind. Streak continues. End of discussion, period. And I barely even talked about The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar at all. And I think that added to the shock of it. So by the time you got to the main event, you were worried for Daniel Bryan. The way the match started was, again, very slow. The crowd was just still a little bit out of breath, a little bit shocked. And I was worried that Daniel Bryan, I was still pretty sure he was going to win the title, but I was worried that it was going to lessen his reaction. I wanted to see those 80,000 fans just jacked out of their mind, yesing their asses off. And you know who deserves a lot of credit in this WrestleMania? Those three guys, Randy Orton, Batista, and Daniel Bryan, because they changed the pace and they changed the flow of the show. The crowd was not into the match, but by the time they got to the finish, with Triple H and Stephanie running out there and all of the false finishes, they were actually able to get the crowd's attention back, and that's just unbelievable, because once a crowd is spent and dead, there's usually no bringing them back. And after all the great near falls and finishes and the stretcher coming out and all the little twists and turns and swerves they tried to throw in, I thought they had a great match and a great finish, and I just love the way the whole thing went down. Batista tapped out. I told you, I've been giving some of the haters a hard time in my previous commentaries because, some of the hate mail I get regarding this stuff of, oh, good Mike, or WWE's just going to fuck over the fans and all heels are going to win, and, they're going to screw over Daniel Bryan and bury him with Triple H's big-ass shovel. Triple H just went out there and jobbed in the opening match to Daniel Bryan clean. That's right, Triple H is an opening match jobber. The guy that doesn't give a shit about anybody but himself and holds everybody back and buries everybody, put over a guy half of his fucking size. Man, it was a good match. It's nice to see Triple H out there bumping around for a babyface. We haven't seen him do this in I don't know how many years. He did a great job with his match with Daniel Bryan. I knew he would. I knew he would put him over because Triple H, deep down, just like he says on TV, knows what's best for business. And like I said in my last few commentaries leading up to this, once they finally put Daniel Bryan in that main event of WrestleMania 30, he was going to win the title. That is the only outcome we could have had tonight. It couldn't have ended any other way, although I said the same thing about the streak and that ended. But I was pretty sure in this instance that the WWE wasn't going to close out WrestleMania 30, with a big heelish swerve. I did get fooled for a brief minute in the main event. I actually thought maybe Evolution was going to reform. Batista and Randy Orton started working together to kind of take out Daniel Bryan. Triple H was also out there. I almost wondered if the three of them were going to just beat the crap out of Daniel Bryan, and then Batista and Randy Orton were each going to put a boot on Daniel Bryan's chest. The referee was going to count 1, 2, 3, and then Triple H was going to hand both Randy Orton and Batista a belt and say the whole reason we decided to unify these belts to begin with is so we could make both of our guys, world champion. It was all a big fucking setup, and now we're back to having two titles again. That's how far my mind processed, Batista and Orton working together until I thought better of it. And once they brought the stretcher out, I felt a lot better. I'm like, oh, great. They're going to cart Daniel Bryan off. He's going to, get off of it Mick Foley, Hell in the Cell style, and just march back to the ring. And he's somehow going to pull out the victory. And that's exactly what happened. All three of those guys, I think, had a really good match. They had a lot of great shit to follow. They had to be in the last match of a very emotionally charged WrestleMania, one of the best ones I've ever seen. It was great right from the pre-show, from the pre-show match all the way up until the end, the fucking pay-per-view was pretty good. But overall, there's only a couple of things we could have probably asked for differently as fans. I know there's one or two things I would have changed about the pay-per-view, but still, the pay-per-view was very, very good, and I was so happy to see Daniel Bryan finally get his due. I told you that he would finally get his due. Isn't this so much better? Everybody that was ripping the WWE apart for Daniel Bryan not winning the title at Battleground, and I'm going to call and get a fucking refund because my favorite guy didn't win the title at a meaningless, pointless, stupid-ass pay-per-view that came 3 weeks after their last pay-per-view and meant absolutely nothing and was forgotten 2 days later. That's what you're so pissed off about? Isn't this moment so much better? This is what we've waited for since SummerSlam. Since the minute that Triple H hit that pedigree on Daniel Bryan, this was going to be his moment. I don't know if it was going to be his moment at WrestleMania all along. Maybe the fans actually did play a part in this. I happen to think WWE had different original plans for WrestleMania 30, and they wanted Daniel Bryan to get his big moment maybe at the pay-per-view after that. But I think with the fans being so vocal, after the Royal Rumble and the fallout with CM Punk, I think that the WWE came to a realization that this year has to be the year that they give a little bit back to the fans, and they sure as hell fucking did. I love that at WrestleMania 10, we kind of got a story like this. At WrestleMania 20, we kind of got a story like this, and then we get the same thing at WrestleMania 30. It's like a nice little bone that they throw to the fans every 10 years. If there are haters of this show out there, then you're just flat out a hater, plain and simple. You are completely incapable of being entertained by anything in pro wrestling, and you can lick my fucking sweaty, hairy taint. Speaking of the haters, guess what? I'm on your side for a minute. John Cena should have lost that match. I was very disappointed. If you would have just switched the Undertaker's match and John Cena's match, just switched the winners, I would have been much happier with this WrestleMania. I don't even think I could contain my excitement if Undertaker would have won and John Cena would have lost. So that's the only thing I would have changed about this WrestleMania is really just the outcome of those two matches. I can't really say too many good things about this match. I thought it was a good match. I thought it was a good story because John Cena is a good storyteller. I don't care what anybody says. I love that Bray was kind of in his head, and John Cena seemed to have like an inner conflict with himself during the match. But still, Bray Wyatt had the Wyatt family out there. It was almost like John Cena was in a match 3-on-1. Bray Wyatt had all sorts of help, all sorts of distractions. Rowan and Harper were involved throughout the match, and John Cena still came out on top after several near falls and several good false finishes. I thought the match was pretty good, and Bray Wyatt did a really good job of creeping out John Cena. I loved when he did the spider walk right in the middle of the five-knuckle shuffle, and John Cena damn near shit his pants. And I think one of the reasons why I was disappointed in the outcome of this match the most is because, I was liking the trend we were seeing. Look how the show started. With Daniel Bryan just flat out beating Triple H. Here we thought there was going to be all this shit and all this weird shenanigans. Although there was. Triple H attacked Daniel Bryan, at the end of the match. But that was just to further the storyline. I thought it was great. And Cesaro wins the Battle Royal. How awesome is that? Now, in my predictions, had I known Cesaro was going to be in this Battle Royal, I might have actually picked him. Cesaro's been on such a tear lately. He's had the best matches a lot of us have seen in a long time in the WWE, and everybody is riding the Cesaro bandwagon right now, and he was a perfect choice to win that Battle Royal, and I'm not upset about it at all. And I was enjoying the trend. Daniel Bryan wins, Cesaro wins, then you get the John Cena Bray Wyatt match. I thought for sure that, this is what we're going to see. This is going to be a new era. The Attitude Era guys, the PG Era guys like Cena, Batista, Orton, they're all going to go down tonight. Even the Shield, just emphatically ended, the New Age Outlaws with that double power bomb, and they stood there over top of them, completely squashed, the New Age Outlaws and Kane, big time stars of another era. And I thought this was going to be the dawning of something like that. So, to me, The Undertaker is untouchable. I would have liked to see all of the young guys win, but The Undertaker still be the one old guy to have his legacy preserved. If they would have just given me that, I would have been 10 times happier. But John Cena won. What can we do about it? I agree with everybody that says he should have lost. I don't think the match was bad. I don't think John Cena buried anybody or held anybody back because he does not book these matches. And he's got absolutely nothing to fucking do with it. And I guess it's all part of WWE's master plan. I think Bray Wyatt is too good to be buried in one match. I think Bray Wyatt is too good to be regulated to opening match and mid-card from now on just because he lost a big-time WrestleMania match. Bray Wyatt's going to have a pretty fucking sweet paycheck. Why don't you ask Bray Wyatt in real life if he's disappointed with his match with John Cena? I think Bray Wyatt will have another shot at Cena, and I think he will have his day, and I think he will eventually get a victory over John Cena. But had Bray Wyatt won at WrestleMania, to me, that would have been better for the feud. That would have been better for Bray Wyatt, and that would have been much better for this theme of, you know, the new guys are here, the new guys are here to take over. And with all of the victories that we saw with Daniel Bryan, Cesaro, The Shield, you know, to me, John Cena winning makes no sense. So there, you see, I'm capable of not defending John Cena all the time. I defend his hard work. I defend his work in the ring. But this particular decision to put him over tonight, I think was wrong. Speaking of something that was right, how fantastic was that opening segment with The Rock, Hogan, and Stone Cold? I started cringing so hard, and I thought WrestleMania was off to a disastrous start when that moron Hulk Hogan fucks up his lines within the first 30 seconds of being out there. This is not Impact, you idiot. This is WrestleMania fucking 30. Get your shit together. I mean, he called the Superdome the Silver Dome. He didn't even know what fucking year or city he was in. I was in the building that night with him when he body slammed Andre the Giant 27 years ago. But damn, Hogan, get it together, man. Know your shit, you old bastard. And then the glass shatters. I love it. It was almost as if the WWE called up The Rock and Austin and said, hey, will you come in and actually host WrestleMania, but we'll let Hogan continue to think that he's hosting, but really, you guys are here to save the day. And what started out as a horrendous promo that made me want to stick my head up my own ass turned out to be one of the greatest things I have ever seen at WrestleMania, because when Stone Cold came out there, I couldn't believe it. I saw Hogan and Austin sitting next to each other at the Hall of Fame on Saturday night, and I couldn't believe it. I've always got this impression that Stone Cold just flat out does not like Hulk Hogan at all. And they have the big rivalry because they were the two big saviors of the WWE. Hulk Hogan saved them during one era, and Stone Cold saved them in another. The money they made and the popularity those two guys had, I think, were unmatched. And as soon as Stone Cold came out there, I knew right away we were going to see The Rock. Because we knew The Rock was in town. We've seen the pictures. We heard all about it. So once Austin came out there, I was like, holy shit, Rock's going to come out there and it's going to be all three of them. That's exactly what happened. And both The Rock and Stone Cold showed Hulk Hogan how you really cut a promo. Austin was awesome. The Rock was awesome. It was an absolutely euphoric moment in wrestling. And, you know, for a wrestling nerd like myself, to see that was just fucking awesome. This is going to rank up there. You know, once all the dust settles and I can really grasp my thoughts a little clearly, I'm really interested where I'm going to rank this WrestleMania as far as, you know, my top 5 or 10 of all time. I'm riding an emotional high right now, so I want to immediately put it in the top 5. But, you know, I'll stand back and look at it a little bit more clearly in the future, and I'll see where this fits in. But I'll tell you, you know, I've never had this feeling after a WrestleMania in a long time. It's been so many years since a WrestleMania has made me feel like this. Probably, maybe the Ultimate Warrior's victory, ironically, at WrestleMania 6 was the last time I was like, I kind of didn't see that happening. It was really shocking, really eerie to see Hulk Hogan's shoulders get pinned to the mat 1, 2, 3 clean at that time. Almost as shocking as it was to see the streak end tonight. I hope the streak ending doesn't take away from Daniel Bryan's great moment. I hope the haters and the assholes out there don't use the streak ending as a reason to tear down this WrestleMania for any reason. I thought this was one of the best WrestleManias the WWE's had in a long time. This, to me, even surpasses WrestleMania 28. And I really enjoyed WrestleMania 28. I loved Dwayne. I was so happy and proud to see him back, and to me that was a big WrestleMania. But this WrestleMania was great. Congratulations to Daniel Bryan. You fucking earned it. He rose to the occasion and performed at an extremely high level tonight, and I'm very proud of what Daniel Bryan accomplished, and I'm proud of the WWE for putting on one hell of a show. I'm sure we will hear more developments in the days and weeks to come as to why exactly this streak did end. Have we seen the last of The Undertaker? Will he be back? And, you know, what kind of send-off is he going to have? Sting will be coming in. It's pretty much confirmed. The video, his new favorite number is 31. Are we going to see him tomorrow night on Raw? Is there going to be some sort of an announcement? The past few years, the night after WrestleMania usually has one big surprise. So I think tomorrow night could be a perfect place, you know, to unveil Sting. And I think he's a really good candidate for next year's Hall of Fame. And hey, now that the streak is out of the way, you know, now maybe this makes an Undertaker-Sting match a little bit more interesting. What we saw from The Undertaker in the ring tonight, do you guys honestly want to see The Undertaker versus Sting? I mean, how good would that match be, given their their age, given their history of never working together. I don't know how good that would be in the ring visually. But now that the streak is over, there would be more of a wonder of who would win. If Sting came in to work with Taker, one big match, icon versus icon, two men who have never met. If the Undertaker has the streak going, of course Sting is going to lose. Now that the streak is over, maybe that's something we can experience next year. Or maybe we will never experience an Undertaker match again. That's all I'm going to say about the show right now. This was my immediate reaction. I will be back up here tomorrow night after Raw, and we'll talk about, more WrestleMania shit, the fallout, anything we see on Raw, and I will also get into a little bit more on the Hall of Fame, which I thought also was a great ceremony this year. The Hall of Fame was awesome. We'll talk more about that this week, and I've got a lot more videos planned for you this week as well, so stay tuned. This is a very confused and emotionally drained Good Mike Works signing off. I will talk to you tomorrow night. Peace.